Hello everyone, and welcome to our MOA Kids Activities for Monday, June 15th, I think. Today, we are going to look at the water cycle. We've been doing a lot of the MOA resources, or the Medway Valley resources, and so for all of those, the water cycle is incredibly important. It's the water that plants and animals and everybody drinks. So, including us. Without it, none of this would be possible. And what's interesting about water is we think that we drink water, and water, we sort of imagine that it disappears. Plants drink water, but it doesn't. The water that's in the world now is the same water that was in the world 500 years ago when the indigenous people were living in the Medway Valley, or the Medway Valley area as well, or at least the indigenous people on the Lawson site were living in that area. There's still indigenous people in the Medway Valley area today, obviously, but the animals that are there, people who were living here 1,000 years ago and 10,000 years ago, all of that water is the same water as today, which is pretty cool. As pretty much as long as the earth has been around, the water that we drink and that we see in the oceans and the lakes and the rivers and that rains back down on us is the same water the entire life of the earth. So we're gonna go through the water cycle, and I have an activity that you can do at home to explore that and see what it looks like. So I'm a little bit light today. I don't know what is different. There's literally nothing different. It's just today the light is being weird. So I'm going to tip us down so that I can show you on the piece of, on my, you'll see, I'm going to tip us down. Okay, so what we are making is we are making a water cycle observational experiment. And to do that, I have a plastic bag, some Sharpie markers. Any marker that will write on the bag will do. We have some blue water. I have some tape. And you would do this on a window. So the first thing that we're going to do on our paper, now mine is going to be backwards because we're doing this live and that's what Facebook does. So I apologize for that. So maybe I will do it right way up because it's going to be upside down anyway. So, all right, make it easier for me to write. So down here at the bottom, we have sort of a lake or a river. It could also be the ground. This is where our water begins. And it evaporates. You guys have heard of evaporation before. It means that the water from the ground evaporates up and back into the sky by turning back into vapor. So what happens is that the heat from the sun evaporates water out of lakes and rivers. It evaporates water off of our skin when we sweat. Plants don't sweat, but they do something called transpiration, or they transpire, and so the water from them gets sort of evaporated back up into the sky as well. So all of this water just goes back up into the sky, and it does that because of heat, and that heat comes from the sun generally. So we'll put a sun up at the top corner of our bag. Let's see how we're seeing here. I think we're pretty good. There we go. So we have the water evaporates from down here by the sun, and where it goes is up into the sky. And the sky is made up of, or in the sky, it cools down. And when it cools down, it becomes clouds. And the clouds form, they are liquid water up in the sky. So it's a vapor, which means it's a gas, and it rises up into the air, it cools, it turns back into clouds, and then when the clouds get too heavy, we know what might happen next is they rain. And when the clouds rain, that's called precipitation. It depends on the time of year. Sometimes that precipitation might be snow, it might be rain, it might be sleet, it might be hail. But all of that precipitation is bringing the water back down into the ground, into the water area. So we'll draw some more raindrops. These all come out of the sky. And they end up back down here. And this area is called precipitation. This area is called collection. So it collects in the ground, it collects in the water areas, and it collects there, and then we use it. I did skip one, condensation. Condensation is part of evaporation. So if you, for example, have, I'm going to tip us back up here. There we are. So if you, for example, have a glass of water in a hot day, on a hot day, and you set it out in the sun, and water droplets end up forming on the outside of the glass, that water is not coming from inside the glass. It's the cool water in the glass is cooling the water that's in the air around it, kind of like what happens up in the clouds, and that's condensation. So the condensation is part of the evaporation into the clouds process. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We've got our water cycle here, and we are going to pour some blue tinted water into it. So I have some blue water here. This is made with just some food coloring. I suppose you could use whatever color you like. You just want to be able to see the water a little bit better because water is clear in its natural state. It's just blue because water, when it's all together and reflecting from the sun, can look blue. But it could also look different colors too, so do whatever you like. So this is what it looks like. And I have another example here. There we go. So you can see this a little bit better. So we have our ocean or lake or river down here at the bottom. And once again, the heat is going to heat up that water, and it's going to evaporate. There's going to be some condensation that happens to end up into a cloud. So it sort of reverts back into its liquid form. And then once they're all too heavy, they're going to rain back down into here, and that's going to keep going around in a circle. So what you can do with this is put this in your window. So I have it taped to my canvas here to help show you here. But what you should do is tape this here, tape it onto a window with lots of sunlight, and you can watch the process. The water will evaporate, it'll condense up at the top, and then it'll rain back down. So you can do that to have a look at the water cycle and understand a little bit more about how our life cycle works for our resources, our trilliums and our maple trees and our snakes and our turtles and our frogs and all the different animals that we've been talking about, as well as for the humans in our environment as well, like us and the people who lived here before us and before them, and before them, and before them, and before them. So hopefully if you do test out this experiment and you want to send us some pictures, there's definitely some weird light glare. I'm going to put this over here. There we go. You know, send us some pictures if you test this out if you want to, and we would love to see them. Once again, our MOA summer camp kits are available on our website at archaeologymuseum.ca. The link to our shop for them is right on the front page. So if you're interested in checking those out, please do. We've had some early interest, so it's looking like it should be good this summer. Wednesday Jessica will be back with you for another Medway resource. I think bats, but I'm not sure. We'll find out then. And Heather will be back tomorrow and Thursday with some more MOA Live Talks and our Mad Libs on Friday. So I hope everybody has a really nice day, and we'll see everybody soon. Bye-bye.